Hello, hello, and welcome. I really, I really feel obliged to say, welcome to our new world. We are certainly into quantum experience. We are in our new dimensional space and place as humanity, and as a planet, and it's feeling particularly smooth, I want to say. There's this energetic streaming that's occurring in a very, well, actually, I want to say in a very vertical way, but it is streaming both up and down, and it's streaming in many different ways. It's not just up and down on the side. It's, there's lots of streams of it front and back, and as well as left and right. Welcome, Sally. Hello, anyone else who's here. Pop your name in the chat and say hi. Hi, Stacey Ace from outer space. Oh my, these energies. Hello, Jackie Innocent. Well, good afternoon to you. It's the evening here. Hello, Carolyn. Hello, Anne. So I don't know about you, but I am certainly feeling, well, a whole lot of things really, So I'll probably be pretty off the cuff with everything because there's been a lot going on, and I mean in every single way. I've been super busy with clients. The energies have been massive. I've really been feeling into the energies as much as I have been writing about them. I've been given some kind of keywords, and this quantum leap into our new reality is part of what comes in this month of September. It, it feels like it's, like this expandable, stretching piece of flotsam, where we can be in it and around it, and we can stretch it and pull it and taste it and smell it and play with it, expand it, contract it, bring it inside ourselves, put ourselves inside it. I feel that it comes with this sense of playfulness because it is so new. And so I would encourage you to be doing that. But we're in, I guess, massive recalibration. We are definitely in this return right back, I want to say, which is why it's like the interference factor has gone, and we are returning to our original divine plan blueprint. And that's everything. That's you, me, the all of the species on the planet, as well as the planet, in its function, in its orientation, in its placement, in its dimension. And so we are going to witness that. We have been, as a collective group, I want to say, we've been witnessing that, observing that happening in the higher, in the upper planes, in the outer realms. But this month, we are really going to see it showing up like tangibly here, right here on the earth, in our world, in our lives, in our homes, at our feet. And so there's that kind of happening. Hello, Arctos Girl, sunshine energy to everyone. Yeah, we had this. I mean, the sun is a story on its own, and share what you're feeling about it. But I what did I see? There's something I saw that Rick Jewis wrote, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm sure I remember writing that, having a conversation with Gaia about that quite some time ago. So so we'll see. It's all a bit random because there's kind of all these bits coming in, but I'll just go with it. So you know how the Earth's pulse, that sort of sine wave, if you like, that is measured in the ionosphere, and we kind of register it as the pulse of the planet at 7.86, I think, hertz. And you may remember, if you've been following me for long enough, you may remember me hesitantly saying that I'd had a conversation with Gaia, and that she had said that we would that we would rise to the planet and us emanating the frequency and resonance of 333 hertz. And I said to her, that's big. That's actually a pretty big call. Are you sure? Am I have like not doubting her, but doubting myself? Have I received that information correctly? And she said, yes, you have. And we will move there incrementally. And then lo and behold, I read a post by Rick Jewis, um, who spoke about that very thing, and that we would we're on the move to 111 um, first, is what I think he said. But I want to say to you, and I will get to finding some links, but I want to say to you, I think that there is good practice, or you might find good practice in going to YouTube and searching for music that is of that resonance, that is of 333 hertz. And I want to say, just have a little flavor of that, and then go back and find some other frequencies and build up to it, I want to say. And so, you may as well do it in the master numbers. Might as well look and see what's there at 111, what's there at 222, and then go into 333. Because I believe that this is and I want to use the word harmonization. This is very off the cuff, some bits of this that are coming, that this is our new, or will become our new level of harmonization. So this is it's like we can be in a wobble, we can be a bit like this, because we're calibrating at a resonance or a frequency that is different to what's coming into the earth. So it's important for us to keep recalibrating, to keep coming into alignment. And so to me, that's kind of being in center, coming into the breath, into center, into alignment, and calling your higher self in, and then asking your higher self to bring you the guidance around that. So that is one thing. And then the other thing is that we are recalibrating back to our original divine plan blueprint. And so that has been happening. You will heard me speak of this on a lot of different levels, but I feel we're in either the end of it, or the end run of it, or the processing and what would you say, assimilation of that. So that's through many of the aspects. So we spoke about, I think in June, we spoke about the alignment or the realignment of the axiotonal line, the central vertical column in us and in the planet. You'll remember me speaking about being wiped out, doing that in relation to being at Lake Rotuiti. And then whilst I was in Vanuatu, it came about the ley lines, and that they were being recalibrated back to their original position. And so all of us are, I believe, doing this work. Now, we're not all doing the same work, but we are all taking a part, especially in our sleep time, where our higher self, our energetic body, is going off and doing work in various stations and places around the world to be bringing this back in its many forms. So it's about, I once got, it's interesting, eh? So I once got shown, I had a client, and I remember saying to her, I have no idea how you are going to do this, but I am telling you that you are going to be realigning all the rivers in the country back to their original positioning. This is quite a long time ago. I would say a couple of years ago. And I said to her, I know it sounds strange, but it's very strong that is what I see you doing. I don't know how. I don't know how you will do that, but you will. You will know it will come. And so this is our new experience. So I really want to hear what's happening for you in that regard. Have you been sent a message about your mission? Have you been sent some information? Have you received some information about what part you are witnessing, observing, playing, creating in this realignment back to original divine plan blueprint on all of the levels, internal of the earth, external of the earth, in us, in all the species? So lots of messages about dancing today. Well, I want to reference that um, because I want to say to you that moving the body in dance, to me, that is like the perfect answer to bringing everything into placement, because you are enabling flexibility and movement and fluidity, and so the body can make its adjustment through those movements. So I think that's a really, really good idea. Craig's saying he's seeing 333 all day long a few days ago for 2 or 3 days in a row, was wondering why I was seeing it. Okay. Yeah. So it may well align to that. It aligns. The other thing that the 333 aligns to for me is the Christed number, the 3, the 33, the 30, the 333. It's the Christ, to me, it's the energy, the codes of the Christed consciousness, the Christos. So of the Christ, or of the Christos, of the crystalline, of the Christed consciousness, of the maybe the ascenic aspect of our original species, or of one of the original species. Okay, so yeah, thank you for observing that, Craig. And I believe that this is all part of our return, these Christed codes, the crystalline light, the crystalline liquid light, the golden light, the assignation, interesting word, of our DNA, the 12 strands of DNA being re-smoothed, reconnected. That's how it shows up to me. And that's through the spinal fluid, and it in general, it can come in through the crown, but to me, in general, it comes into the crown, down through the central vertical core, into the ground, into your crystalline earth star chakra, where it then, it's like it kind of gets reconfigured, activated, and then shoots up into your tailbone and activates up through the liquid, the spinal fluid, the golden liquid crystalline light, and then moves into, I guess, to the blood, to the marrow, and this reconnection of DNA. So back to 12 strands. So this is our, at least on one level, our original. So I believe that we'll go beyond that, but this is, I believe, our kind of first point of segmented return to the 12 strands of DNA, and with it will come this greater expanded psychic abilities for all of us, but may be different for each of us. But I with a client today, I don't know, maybe it was today, I don't know. I've been really busy, and I'm a bit I never intend to remember these things, but I remember in the last couple of days I was speaking to someone, and this came with such clarity about her partner, and I said, it's because blah 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 and blah blah blah, and it happened when he was 8, and like that just toppled out of me, and he wasn't in front of me. And she said, yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. And told the story of it. So we're becoming very clear, very precise, very attuned. And so I imagine that many of you are noticing that as well. But yeah, that's what that links to for me. It's like, I want to say, it's like I was witnessing the undulation. And so I might have spoken to you about some of these, the undulation of the timelines, or the dimensional lines or spaces or vectors or segments. And I believe that what light workers were doing when I was in Vanuatu is that we were like playing them in a way that was moving them, that was rippling them, that was, you could say that it was like tuning them like a giant uh, stringed instrument, actually. And I believe that what we were doing is we were moving down dimensionally and up dimensionally. And it's like we were crossing them over and pulling them up and pulling them down and merging them. So you could say from one perspective that we're merging the timelines, but I sort of don't get too caught up with timelines because I've always kind of seen that ultimately we are really all on the same timeline, but we just might be in different places of it. Anyway, I was watching this, and it's like the 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 grid lines, the ley lines, the song lines, the dragon lines. They're all the same thing. It's as though light workers were moving them up and down and doing this merging and going right up to the dimensional space of the 11th dimension as well, and then pulling it down. And so it was this ongoing, was like diving into the muck, sieving things out, bringing it up. So we were lifting up the level of the lower as we were cleaning it out as a collective, and then bringing in, like going up and gathering. You would have heard me talk about the fairy dust, like gathering the fairy dust, the codes from the higher dimensional space and bringing it down and sprinkling them out. This morning when I was attuning to the energies, I had this cool imagery given to me, where I felt like my feet were in mud and I was about, just up to my ankles. Then I was about to step on, like just one little movement away from into this giant field of beautiful wild flowers. So that was the imagery I got given about the energy first thing this morning. Okay, so let me get my head back on track. Carolyn's saying she was once told to tap on her chest 33 times with intent to bring in the gifts. I did it a couple of years ago while listening to 33 Hertz Christ consciousness vibration. I brought in the Tree of Life blueprint. Thank you. I think that's really valuable information. And I'm going to try that. I would encourage everybody to do that, to make a note of that. And Carolyn's saying she also sent our Christ consciousness through the blueprint and sent it to everyone. I think we are reconnecting with it. That makes sense to me. So let's all do that. Let's do the tap on the chest 33 times. I know that there was a time for me when I would do that I did all sorts of tapping movements while I was in the shower in the morning, and a lot of it on the thymus and using significant numbers. So the thymus is here, this kind of higher heart area. So let's do that. Let's all make a pledge to self to do that. Well, today, if you can do that today or do that tomorrow, and then send it out. Yesterday seeing 11, 11, 11, just realizing that adds up to 33. Oh yeah, great noticing. All right, so for me, there's 22 people that are on the live right now. So for me, these numbers have been showing up all my life, but there are phases when it's super in my face. And in this last week or two, probably two, the 11, the 22, and the 33 has been showing up all the time. And while I was in Vanuatu, both Polly and I noticed this in terms of we would, notice the time, and it would be those times. We would go to do something and we would check where it was, and that number would show up. Those numbers were showing up the entire time. So these are all the master numbers. So the 11 is the master number of ascension. It's the illuminated gateways. People who are working on an 11 path, they are old souls. They are here to uplift people, to assist them, to hold them, to move through the illumination, the awakening, the enlightenment, gateways. People who are working with a 22, how I read that is they're often like the silent um, partner in bringing in the new, and they don't always um, have to know, but some do. But they are like the conduit between the heavenly realms and the earth, so they behave like a conduit, a pillar, where they're bringing in often, I believe, unique codes, and their role is to just integrate them through their body, run them through their emotional body, and then into the ground and into the grids. And then those who are working with the 33, that's definitely related to the Christed consciousness, the crystalline light, the Christed codes. And so these are numbers that have been like everywhere for me, excessively in the last couple of weeks. Okay, what else is here? Yesterday, oh yes, that's right. Thank you, Anne. The song you shared earlier, Looks Like We Made It, resonates. Yeah, there's another song by Sinead O'Connor that links into that as well. And I just was a bit pushed for time, so I didn't add that in. But yeah, that's what I heard. It's like, looks like you made it, or looks like we made it. And that to me, it was like not, it was to do with twins, with divine counterparts. It was to do with humanity, was to do with the dimensional shift. And I tell you, it's, there ain't no going back now. That's very strong. That we are we are there. We are there, and all we have to do is now embed it more, entrench it more, anchor it more, ground it more. Aren't those girls saying her addresses have been 144 222 and 1111? Wow. Hi, Jasmine. Nice to have you here. Oh, so yeah, Carolyn. Arcto, let me stay on track. I float upright in the ocean, spinning 33 times in clockwise, and then 33 times rotating clockwise. Yeah, wonderful. I do crazy little rotations and spins and um, dives and dives dives and ducks under in numbers as well, especially when I haven't been so good at that this year, but I swam right through winter last year, and I would make myself do, at least, irrespective of how cold it is, I would wade in, I would dive under, and then I would dive under 9 times before I'd allow myself to get out. So it's quite good to play with numbers. And I think that's a powerful thing to do in the water. So we're also in this releasing at the moment. I'll get back to my notes in a minute, but this month, that's like, oh, let it all go, everything. And then we let it all go. We move into the neutrality. We move into our own uniqueness, amazingness, alignment, and then like I said to this person I saw this morning, what's the word that came? It was like this. I've had this really kind of like booming, holy voice sitting behind me the last few days. It's quite funny. It booms these kind of rich statements, and yeah, it was something around you cannot miss what is for you now, but it was said in some kind of funny double negative. But we're so in this space where what is for you, you can't go past it now. And so it doesn't necessitate that you have an idea of the timing of it. And it's like I've been saying to a lot of people, it's like we're in this end point of we have to come into our wholeness. So is there anything else that needs to be released? Is there anything else that needs to be healed? And then we come into our wholeness, and then we come into our alignment. Then we're in our higher frequency. And so then let's remember that, we're in this toroidal field. That's at least one aspect of our field. I believe that there's a lot of overlays of different things happening in our field now, but you think about the toroidal field, and it is spinning and operating at your highest frequency and vibration. And then what happens is your resonant match comes in. So anything that is lower than that resonant match, it's like it gets spat out. And that can sound a bit mean, but energetically, that's what will happen. Those who are of lower frequency will get moved out of your field. So we're coming into that time. Let's see, what else have I got? Let me move through a bit of these notes. Yes, I want you can be calling in any aspects of self that relate to your emerald codes, to your sapphire codes, to your diamond crysted codes, any of those. Hi, Helen. Helen's saying 33 has become a personal reference number for her. And hi, Anne, kia ora to you. Thank you for your aroha. So, you know, it doesn't hurt to call these things in. Yeah, so I spoke about that. That's okay. There's some notes I'm moving through here because I'm writing some notes about some meditation things I'm going to do for the channel. Okay, so I wrote this quantum month of September, we will be in expanded time, and there is so much to occur, and it is occurring. I have to tell you that a few days ago, I felt, so this is referencing, just because I've got so many notes, this is referencing my divine masculine. So if you have a divine counterpart, maybe you've been having this experience. It felt like I had this day anyway, where it was like all of a sudden I noticed that he was behind me. And then I'd be like, oh, that's nice. And then he would be gone. And then later on in the day, it was like I felt him beside me. And then he would be gone again. And what I recognized is that is a reflection of, remember when I spoke about the pendulum moving out and moving in. And so that was showing up as him energetically being in my space, as though he was just kind of touching me, and this and then moving out and coming back in. And so I felt that was in connection to that. Like a checking in. Does this still feel right? Checking in. Or is she going to notice me? Checking in. Am I going to be okay here? That it's like that, like a kind of warm-up exercise. So maybe some of you have been having a little bit of that. And then the pendulums, I have to say, when I got shown the pendulum this morning again, and the movement out is about halfway now. So there's definitely been some harmonizing going on between divine counterparts. Yeah, testing the territory is what I wrote. That my divine masculine energetically dropping in, feeling it out, testing the territory. So I want to tell you just the kind of little scenario while I'm here in this space about the visuals that I've been seeing about the divine masculine. So I saw the divine masculine maybe last week sitting, and I know maybe I've told you this, sitting, they were all naked and sitting on a grassy bank, very relaxed, leaning back on their arms, and it was like they were waiting for a bus or waiting for a train or waiting for something to pick them up. They weren't concerned. It was like they knew they were in the right spot, and however they were going to be moved, that would turn up and stop, and they would board. So there was, they would board the bus or board the plane or board the train or the boat or whatever. So there was that in terms of their preparation. And then I saw them um, let me just check. Oh yeah, in swim trunks and but like diving trunks, um, and they were preparing themselves to do this very high cliff dive. And so some of them were sitting in a meditative space, and some of them were warming up, limbering up, stretching, and some of them were in their psyching themselves up, standing on the edge of the cliff in various stages and phases of that. And it was this exquisite scenery that spirit or whoever showed me. It was like I was having this bird's eye view of this incredibly big um, like inlet that was all these cliffs. It was very beautiful and beautiful ocean, and there were divine masculine all around it, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and that's what they were doing. And then today was funny because um, today they showed up as, and the words came as boy joy, and it showed up as all of the divine masculines looking about 4 or 5 or 6 years old, and they were climbing the slide, and they were in this queue up the ladder like only little boys can do. Not enough space, their noses on the other person's backside, sort of all overlapping, trying to be on the ladder, and it came down into the water. And so this was the divine masculine, so that it's like they have gone in, or they're in the series of processes of going deeply into themselves, of finding out who they are, of coming into their empowerment, of being ready to take the risk to dive deeply, and then to come into their greater masculine power. And then what they're in the next phase is this finding joy. So this was the word that came, boy joy. And I'm watching all of these little boys just and going down the slide. This was them like filling up in this joyous, childlike, playful way. So that's the kind of little story. So it's divine masculine, find your center, let all the old drop away, and it is, let's think back to, excuse me, let's think back to the time when the divine masculine showed up as Apollo, and then all of a sudden there was like a hammer hit on them, and they started to crack, and the edges of the coatings, the layers started to come off, and then we watched them as the pillars holding up the third dimension, the matrix, and we watched the divine masculine, moving out, the pillars as the divine masculine moving out of the matrix, and as they're moving out, this is the dissolution, the matrix. They're not holding the matrix up any longer, so the matrix is dissolving. Ask him to dance, my divine masculine. Yes, that's a lovely idea, and sometimes we do. And yeah, so it's this is their, the kind of spectrum for them. So they are finding their center, letting all the old drop, coming into their empowerment, and now they're finding their joy. So there's very much for me this very strong idea that we may move. So I'm not sure of the exact steps of this, but I think be open to the idea that we may move through the Ascension Gateway individually. And I don't know that means that we won't have met up or won't have communicated or won't have seen. But don't get caught up with that, because I feel there's something about our own individual ascension, and I feel in many ways that a lot of us here have already done that part, and it's like it's just sinking in. Um, well, so we are in our new dimensional space, and we're ready. That's what I wrote. Yeah, today. So we've got a new moon in Virgo, either today or tonight, or 13th, 14th, depending on where you are. And so that is the opening of this equinox gateway. This equinox gateway feels to me to be exceptionally impactful on our world, that it's going to bring the potential of many things, and one of them is great change, and that great change will come in the physical. And this flooding, I want to say, this flooding. So that flooding could come as tears. It's been interesting how overflowing with tears I've felt today as I've been working with my clients, and how many of them, well, I've actually seen a whole heap of male clients as well in the last couple of days, and they are very much in this readiness of flow of tears, that overwhelming need for release of all that's held within. And so many of us, because we all carry the divine masculine aspect and self, and so many of you might be feeling that. But it's this release of anything now that doesn't serve, that doesn't hold us in the highest, that doesn't align with this greater resonance with our newfound integrity, with our up leveled light and frequency. And so that's all being released and washed away, and it's like a frequency impact that helps it to dissolve. And I know that I've spoken before about this molecular structure of the lie, how Gaia said that we would get to a time where the molecular structure of a lie would not be able to be held, and we're in the beginning of that now. And so that's our own lies. That's all the ways that we've lied to ourselves about who we are and who we are not. And we are, in a way, being held against the wall to own ourselves, to own our own greatness, and to be more accepting and allowing of that. And then to own the mishaps, the misalignments, the things that are incongruent, the aspects that don't line up with self. And so all of this is our internal self-analysis, self-investigation, and it can be done in a very beautiful, soft, and yet expedient and expanded way, I believe. So they can be kind of dissolved and washed away easily. But there's this huge opportunity. It's like, if you think about a huge portal in the sky just for you, opening up with this streaming down, white, purifying, crystalline light pouring into you, moving anything out that doesn't serve, doesn't belong, is at its past, and at its used by date. And so this is adding in, because we're really in this exponential effect. How you are affects the person next to you, how the two of you are together affects the next 5 people around you, how the 5 of you are affects the closest 100 people to you, how 1,000 of us are impact an entire continent. We're in that effect. So I want to say that being very grounded is important, because that's how you can not be knocked over by the energies. You've got to be grounding them in and being really present, super present with the breath, with the heart. centered, present, balanced, grounded, connected, noticing just what's in front of you, because things are going to roll out very, very quickly, exponentially, profoundly, deeply. So, aligning also with truth, with your mission, with your clarity, with your purpose, with your partnership, and with your divine partnership, mission, and purpose. So, any and all of this might be moving around you. So, today, so it's really interesting how many different things have been happening today energetically for me. So the other thing was, this swirling, this beautiful energy swirling around me. Um, yeah. So I wrote here, if you ask yourself what is ready or what has to or what's there to be released, what comes up? What is it that I need to release? And ask yourself, am I holding on to something that is false or that is holding me back? And let all of us clear out, let go of anything that doesn't serve us. And then I feel it's a very powerful time to create some general intentions. And I thought I would have got to writing some of those today, and I haven't. And I encourage you to. So I wrote, what is your desire? What's your requirement? What is your dream? And it doesn't have to be super detailed, but I would encourage you to write them out. I made a note of something I listened to, that Mercury, which of course is the planet of um, oh, what is it, everyone? Is it communication, that or the mercurial mind? I think it might be that. Anyway, there's something about Mercury coming direct that might impact on the truth, and you'll know that that's what I've been talking about in the reverse, that the lies won't hold up. So the veils, the things that have been hiding, the lies that we have been A, telling ourselves, B, telling one another, and certainly C, being told by governments, by corporate organizations. I'm sorry, but that's a bye. That isn't going to wash anymore. We are going to, as a society, as a group of people, we're going to be calling that out, because we're going to feel it, we're going to notice it, and we're not going to be putting up with any of the BS anymore. We are wanting to be in alignment, holding great values of purpose, mission, joy, and love and connectedness. And this is where we're heading. So this is going to impact the world, because this truth is going to come out, because the lies can't hide the truth any longer. There was something also that came out today, and I thought, I must just reference this, about somebody talking about there being two suns. And if you've been following me long enough, you might remember, and I don't know where it is, but there's something that I got from Gaia about this second sun coming in, because it's like the idea that the sun, as it has been, you'll remember, right? It used to be golden, and then it became more yellow, and it's become paler and paler, and it's become white, and now it's like this blazing white blue light. That's how it showed up to me today. And so Gaia, if I remember correctly, she spoke about the second sun coming in behind the first sun to blend and merge for nourishment and nurture of a higher frequency. So that's our new nourishment, the higher frequency resonance that comes from the sun. As we have been, as you are aware, we've been receiving these solar flares and filaments from the sun. They have been these activation codes for our ascension. So, yep, this apparently Mercury goes direct tomorrow. So I believe that this is all in perfect alignment with how I've read the energies and what Gaia has said about this revealing in the physical. And I wrote here: breathe, sigh, relieve, release. It is all going to be fine. And the timing of it feels like we've had intrusion, inversion, we've had stretching. It's been like a big, long piece of gum. And that there's been a lot of times when we've thought this is it, but we've made it, Looks like we've made it. We've made it. We're over the line and now we're integrating and grounding. So I wrote here these energies are soothing, smoothing, streaming, aligning. Can you feel the power of that? Well, Carolyn is in Canberra. She's saying it's 5:33 there. So yes, 5 is the change. And each of us is streaming and aligning and smoothing and soothing as this individual sovereign being of a higher dimensional frequency. And I wrote, claim this, be centered, aligned, balanced, whole and healed. Then move in, with, and through this dimensional space into the deep knowing of this. Here's the double negative. You cannot not be led, pushed, pulled, or guided to where and what and with whom you are meant to be. You cannot not. You cannot not. This is, if you like, written in the stars, and we are in this timing. So get into the river and float, roll over and float. And if that terrifies you, get in a boat and lie on your back and look at the stars and allow the river to take you where you need to go. Everything is moving back to its original divine plan, organic blueprint. And this involves letting go and releasing of all that isn't. So let us do that now. Let us call in the assistance of our mighty I Am presence in order that we can release now everything that isn't for your highest. Everything, let go everything, release everything that you need to do in order to return to your original divine plan blueprint as this incredible being here on the planet. To become all that you are and more. Breathing, smelling, eating, moving, absorbing, floating, immersing in the living waters of consciousness, sustaining this in all flows and systems of creation. That's the task, that's the challenge. There's nothing hard about it. Just roll over and float. And I started tuning to some various beings today, and I haven't finished this either, but I'll just share. I attuned to Master Rakowski, who is the Hungarian master, who often is described as also being the persona of Saint Germain. But Master Rakowski's is the ascended master beloved of Lady Sarah, or Sarah. I don't know that I can say that probably. Sarah, S-A-R apostrophe H. It's the daughter of Mary Magdalene and Yeshua. And so he is her beloved, and they are the masters of the 11th ray. And so I work with them because that's my pathway ray. And so I asked for him to give me a message about where we're at energetically, and I'm going to. I started to, and I also got a little bit of a message from Mary, but I haven't finished that. And he said, when I was attuning to him, so if you imagine that you have the energy of Master Rakoses or Lady Sarah around you, and just feel the energy of that and notice where it drops into in your body. So ia te kana shete takata ia toa na ishi e tiara e tiara e tiara e ke ana shi tiana patakata isi tiana esia a toa na kana si tiana. Take a breath. And so for me, he was bringing in, so I imagine that's the same for you. I can begin to feel that energy now, the energy between the higher heart and the throat. And so just feel that being activated. Hi, Raoul. Hi, Jackie. And he says, you are fine. You are well. You are developing higher tones in your voice, which will begin to both reach and attune listeners to a higher vibrational alignment, both in person and on screen. And I can tell you that I don't believe that that's just for me, that message. Raising the resonance will be your outcome with all interactions for the rest of this year. So we can take that on as a collective here, that it's attune to that and feel the tonings shift, and know that as you enable that toning to be calibrated, recalibrated, and aligned, that your voice in its resonance, frequency, and tone and vibration will be affecting the landscape. So that's the people around you, I believe, as well as the whenua, the land, the ground. Yeah. So I'm going to leave that there and send you so much love from my heart, and wish you a beautiful week and a magical resting into your own invocations on this new moon today, tomorrow. And so I just invite you to write a little paragraph about that. Mark Dye's girl is saying she woke in a dream with the whole building shaking rhythmically like a washing machine, not EQ, all walls dissolved, and there was a white light, a peaceful experience, but odd. That doesn't surprise me, because that shaking and vibration, there's somebody else who had that experience as well. It's, like a centrifuge machine where it spins all the it spins everything out to the edges, and like a washing machine on spin. So that, I think that's a perfect example of an experience of a recalibration. So yeah, I'll be back. I know that there's lots of notes and energies to bring through, and I wish you well through this recalibration, realignment, reassignment, reassignation, tuning into your mission purpose, enabling the letting go and the releasing, and calling your divine counterpart to be right there with you, toe to toe, nose to nose, heart to heart. Lots of love. Bye.